Oh, well, welcome in. I have to, I need to get set up here. Welcome into the Bitcoin Crypto Happy Hour. Cheers. I am having a salted caramel whiskey, and I am pulling up because, again, I only have one monitor at the moment. As you can see, I have a little bit of a different setup. Um, I'll be back to my usual streaming environment very shortly. But hey, I want to welcome everybody in. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, click the icon notification or bell icon for notifications, and make sure to drop me a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the content. Today's live stream, which I did not have a ton of time to set up. It's been a little bit a little bit of a busy week. There was one article that sort of got my attention. Right, there's a lot of things that we could talk about. There's been a lot going on, but there's one article here surrounding the ECB, the European Central Bank, that I really wanted to spend some time to discuss. And we're also, as always, going to get into some charts as well. One of the other things I'm going to be cognizant of, I'm going to try to keep these live streams a little bit shorter. I think sometimes I was just having a conversation with someone, and sometimes I get so excited about what it is I'm speaking to that I get super wordy, and these live streams go very long. So we're going to try to condense the material and keep things a little bit closer to 40-45 minutes. As always, there'll be a live TA Q&A at the end. I do really appreciate everyone tuning in. Like I said, I'll be back to my normal setup by next week, which I'm really excited about because I miss having two monitors. I miss having my usual setup. But thank you for everyone who is tuning in. So I hope you're having a really good week. Good start to the week here. I hope you've had a good start to the week because we're through most of the week and we're at December 1st, right? So I hope the week's going well for you. We're getting closer to Christmas for those who celebrate. We are only 24 days away from Christmas. Great, great. But hey, you know what? Welcome in, Excedre. Good to see you, brother. I want to jump right into things. There was an article put out here by the European Central Bank. Okay, I want to go to the website here. It's the ECB blog here. You can see Bitcoin's last stand. Um, Now, what I did was I read this entire article. Okay, I read this entire article. It was very painful to read. Very, very painful to read. And I actually stuck it in this Word document here and I highlighted sections, as you can see here. And I kind of wanted to go through the article and I wanted to speak to what's going on here in terms of what's being presented in the article. And I wanted to share with you my honest thoughts. Okay, I want to share with you my honest thoughts. There's also a conversation, coincidentally, there's a conversation that I had with someone this past Saturday as I've been up in Northern. I had with someone who used to work in the crypto industry, has certain ties, and sort of validated a lot of stuff, being sort of in the industry and being on certain calls. And I'm not going to name any names, but being on certain calls and having access to certain people, it sort of validates. Interestingly enough, it validates a lot of the things that we think about in the space as it pertains to the United States specifically being completely behind in terms of being able to get in front of things. So, with that being said, let's get into it. So, there was an article that was published, as you can see here. Again, I just copied and pasted the article in a Word document. There was an article that was released just the other day. This is on November 30th, 2022. It's called Bitcoin's Last Stand. And by the way, before we get into this article, Evan, I love the sentiment, Evan, that you are more bullish than ever. We're gonna get into it, but I am more bullish than ever reading an article like this. Let me tell you. By the way, this is a happy hour, just to remind you. So let me know what you're having to drink. So what I want to do, I want to go through key points of this article, and I want to share my thoughts with you. I will pause at different points to see in the live comments if anybody has any other comments related to this article, any questions, commentary. I'll certainly take some breaks here or there to see what the chat's looking like. But with that being said, let's get into it, as I always say. So, as you can see, I have a section here highlighted that says, for Bitcoin proponents, the seeming stabilization signals a breather on the way to new heights. More likely, however, it is an artificially induced last gasp before the road to irrelevance. So, this is quite a bold statement. Now, boy, we need to kick that person out of the live stream. What we need to understand is that this is quite a statement to make given the historical fact, okay, that Bitcoin has been around since 2009, really technically around since 2009. And depending upon what time frame you look at, Bitcoin, we're just talking about Bitcoin for the moment, not the entire cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin has been the single best performing asset depending upon what time frame you look over. And if you go back in time, and I don't want to steal my own thunder, I'm planning on putting out a video very soon that kind of gets into this, a lot of this. Historically, I'm going to put something together that kind of shows you through time a lot of what I'm about to speak to. But at different points in time, when we've seen significant corrections within the market, there's been bullshit that's been put out like this that speaks to essentially the death of Bitcoin. This is saying the irrelevance. Now, never mind the fact all the institutional adoption, never mind the fact that the market cap went over $1 trillion. No, let's just put that aside for a moment. This is artificially induced, and somehow Bitcoin grew from pennies in value to $69,000 in value and a market capitalization of over $1 trillion. But this is artificially induced, right? This is a very bold statement. So if you're going to make this bold of a statement, you better have factual information to back it up, right? So what we could deduce, okay, this is coming straight from the European Central Bank, is that we're going to get a lot of factual information that speaks to the fact that this guy is stating that this is an artificially induced last gasp before irrelevance. Okay, this is an interesting one. By the way, there is none. I'll save you the time there. This is a really interesting one. He throws in, this is sort of like a jab, right? He's taking a jab at Bitcoin here, all right? Bitcoin is rarely used for legal transactions. Now, I would agree that Bitcoin is not being used heavily as transactions. I would even absolutely agree, and I'm on record saying the narrative has definitely shifted. Bitcoin was intended to be a peer-to-peer means of transaction, right? And slowly the narrative has changed to a store of value, right? You can still transact with it, but given some of the cost and speed issues where other cryptocurrency technologies have exceeded that of Bitcoin, certainly the narrative has changed. So it's interesting, though, that the way the author is intending to approach this is he's not saying it's not rarely used for transactions. He's saying it's rarely used for legal transactions. What is implicitly used a lot for illegal transactions. Fun fact: did you know that it's actually easier? It's easier to launder money. It is much easier to launder money than it is to do so with Bitcoin. Meaning, it's a lot easier to perform illegal transactions with a dollar that can't be traced versus blockchain technology where you can actually trace where the transactions are coming from and the wallet addresses. Okay. So it's interesting that we point to this. Money laundering has been in place with the United States dollar forever, and it's still taking place. But again, we have this form of technology, and they're saying that it's rarely used for legal transactions. They're taking a jab and saying it's used for essentially illegal transactions. This has been around forever. People have been speaking to this bullshit argument for a long time. Now, this statement I do agree with. Well, I agree with it, but I also think it speaks to the fear that is being induced within this article, underlying it, that the author is not speaking to. Okay? Bitcoin was created to overcome the existing monetary and financial system. So essentially what the author is saying here, it's almost like the author is acknowledging without realizing it, that the fear that is underlying this article is spoken to in this statement. Bitcoin represents a means of technology to bypass, okay, legacy financial systems. That's essentially what's being stated here, whether the author wants to recognize it or not. There's a fear statement being induced here by the author, underlying the entire article within this statement. So I found that very interesting. Here's another statement that I found interesting. However, Bitcoin's conceptual design and technological shortcomings make it questionable as a means of payment. What the hell does this author mean by conceptual design? So he's saying that the conceptual design, he's using big fancy words here to say that Bitcoin just can't be used as a means of payment. I just found that statement very interesting. It sounds very technical, like this author must be very well versed on blockchain technology, Bitcoin, and the crypto market. I mean, just this he's making it seem this way. Here's another interesting one. Bitcoin is not suitable as an investment. Now, I want to remind everyone, Bitcoin not oh Jesus. Bitcoin is not suitable as an investment. I'll give you one point in time. Let's say that you decided to invest in Bitcoin. Let's just hypothetically say that you decided to invest in Bitcoin after it had corrected massively in 2018. Okay, and you bought in the $3,000 to $4,000, 5,000 level. Aren't you up like, I don't know, six to, depending where you bought at, 6 to X, 3X, 2X, 4X, 5X? Over the long term, if you actually look at the chart of Bitcoin, if you pull up a monthly chart and you look at the trajectory of Bitcoin, this statement is so invalid. I don't even know where to begin with this statement. It's not a suitable investment. Well, sure, it's not. It hasn't been an awesome investment if you've invested within the past year. It's been in this year-long correction, right? But historically, if you look over the entire time horizon that Bitcoin has survived and thrived within the market, it's been an incredible investment opportunity, arguably the best investment opportunity. And I think the numbers actually, again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, and I wish I would have had time to pull it up, but I think it has been the best performing asset since inception, since it was first incepted. Is that a word? Incepted, enacted, created? Here's another one. Market valuation of Bitcoin is therefore based purely. Okay, the market valuation of Bitcoin is based purely on speculation. So what the author is saying here is, despite the fact that Bitcoin grew from millions of dollars in market value to over $1 trillion in market value, it was just speculation. Nothing more. Nothing more. It just grew. It grew in size. It started getting up in market capitalization somewhere near Google or Apple, just based on speculation. Just speculation. Here's another one. This is really interesting. Speculative bubbles rely on new money flowing in. Bitcoin has also repeatedly benefited from waves of new investors. Doesn't any investment project benefit from new money flowing in and waves of new investors? How is this any different from any other investment? I just don't understand the point that this individual is trying to make here. New money flowing in and new waves of investors is how a project, any investment, grows in value. It's how confidence and market capitalization would grow within anything. So I don't understand the argument that's being made here. Here's another one. Big Bitcoin investors have the strongest incentives to keep the euphoria going. Just understand, again, the word choices and ways that the author, is choosing to put this together. He's throwing negative connotation with every single statement. It's very obvious that the author is biased in their views within the article. Any investor who is a larger investor of a project would want to do things which would incentivize the project to continue doing well, right? So once again, I don't understand the point of this statement as it applies to Bitcoin. The general statement here applies to any investment. Once again, I'm going to pause shortly to see what comments people have. Large investors also fund lobbyists who push their case with lawmakers and regulators. This happens with any investment. Again, I don't understand the point that this individual is trying to make. Here's another one. Number of crypto lobbyists has tripled. Now, I haven't fact checked any, by the way, I haven't fact checked any numbers here, just to let you know. The number of crypto lobbyists have almost tripled from 2018 to 2021. Well, the market has grown. The institutional involvement has grown. The market has shown that it can survive deep corrections, corrections within the stock market, corrections within the crypto market. It has proven itself from a fundamental perspective in the eyes of investors as a means of technological advancement. So that's why the market capitalization has grown, and that's why the number of crypto lobbyists have grown. I don't understand the purpose of this statement. Legislation on crypto assets has sometimes been slow. Now, I partly agree with this statement, but let me tell you where I would disagree. Legislation on crypto assets has been slow to ratify in recent years, and implementation often lags behind. This is well known. The real, true, valid players in this space have been knocking on the doors of the SEC and knocking on the doors of regulators trying to get clarification. Imagine trying to operate within an industry that not only has in some areas, no regulation or ambiguous regulation, but seemingly doesn't know what the hell it's doing. And this brings me to, this is where this article ties into a conversation that I had with someone over the weekend. This individual who used to work in the cryptocurrency space and was on meetings with high profile individuals that you would know if I said their names. Okay? Not blowing smoke up your ass, just going based off the conversation that I had with somebody, and I have no reason not to believe him. Okay? Let me make this point perfectly clear. And what was really interesting to hear from this individual was that when he was on calls with people within the government body, okay, again, I just don't want to go down that when he was on a call as a technician, as a person who understood crypto very much, very passionate about it, very much wants to see it moving forward, sees it as a very viable solution for humanity and sees it as a benefit for humanity. Very, very similar views as myself, very, very libertarian views, okay? It's very disheartening to hear from an individual that what was transpiring between their group, the entity that he worked for at the time, and this government agency, that the government agency, the way they approached the conversations, they had no idea what was going on. They did not understand the regulation, what regulation would apply to this industry because they don't understand the technology. Nor do they want to take the time to understand the technology. Instead, regulation by enforcement, right? There's fear behind this technology. This is so evident in so much that we see if you're paying attention. And so hearing this from this individual and reading a lot of this, the timing is very interesting to me that I happened to meet up with this person and this article was released. I highlighted the MICA, a little bit more, and then we're going to pause. Oh, this is a good one. The belief that space must be given to innovation at all costs stubbornly persists. Okay? This author is taking the notion of, essentially what this author is speaking to is that people within this space don't want regulation to stifle innovation, right? That should make sense, okay? But where this author is going is he's taking that statement and saying that people in the crypto space don't want any regulation because that'll stifle innovation. That is what is being implied here. I have not heard anyone in the space that is value added and actually doing things concrete in the space who has credence to them and integrity ever state. I've never heard them say, we don't want any regulation because that's going to stifle innovation. That is what this person is saying. He's saying that everyone in the space doesn't want regulation because it's going to stifle innovation. That is not what we are saying. What we don't want are archaic rules being applied to innovative forms of technology that outdate that regulation, right? Such as the Howey test, for example. We want sensible regulation that applies to innovative forms of technology that could benefit all of mankind, right? But that is what is not being applied. These technologies have so far created limited value for society. Clearly, this individual does not understand all of the work and the incredible minds that are in play within the cryptocurrency space to say that there is technologies. This statement is perhaps the most ignorant statement in the entire article. This statement alone, limited value for society, is perhaps the most ignorant statement in the entire article. And there's a lot of ignorance here. I was laughing very hard when I was reading this article and cringing at the same time. It was very hard to get through this article. The entry of financial institutions, the entry of financial institutions, wow, that salted caramel whiskey might be hitting me. The entry of financial institutions suggests to small investors that investments in Bitcoin are sound. Now let me actually educate the author for a moment. The entry of financial institutions into this space suggests that they don't want to become irrelevant. And they see what is going on. They want to make a profit and they want to cater to people, to the investors. They see what is going on. They are the early adopters. That is what is going on here. It's also worth noting that the Bitcoin system, I highlighted the whole, this one, I highlighted the entire paragraph because this has been an archaic discussion point and argument for the longest of time. And it blows my mind, having been in this space for as long as I've been in, educating myself now for over 5 years. It's been about 5.5 years I've been, that's hard to believe. Wow. 5 years? Yeah, about 5.5 years. I've been in this space educating myself. That's crazy. It's crazy that this argument is still going on. It's also worth noting that the Bitcoin system is an unprecedented polluter. First, it consumes energy on the scales of entire economies. Oh boy, let me just read this to you. Bitcoin mining is estimated to consume electricity per year comparable to Austria. Mountains of hardware waste. Wow, we are really, guys, we're really grasping for words here that just want to make people believe this is fucking the antichrist of technology. This paragraph, for people that are unfamiliar with crypto, this paragraph makes it sound like that's a good statement. Bitcoin is the antichrist of technology. That's the way this makes it sound. One Bitcoin, oh, this is a good one. This is funny. This is, just prepare yourself for this. One Bitcoin transaction consumes hardware comparable to the hardware of 2 smartphones. What in the holy fuck is that statement? I don't even know where to go with that statement, guys. I don't know what to say. I really just don't know what to say. The entire Bitcoin system generates as much e-waste as the entire Netherlands. This reads like a comedy to me. This reads like an entire comedy to me. If we were to dig into every organization that exists and every company and every sector of the world that utilizes technology, I am positive, I would bet every single dollar that I own that there's a whole lot of electricity waste out there. But again, if there's a technology out there that you're fearful of, you will grab onto anything that you can and make these ridiculous statements to make it sound as ridiculous as it sounds here. I don't even know how else to word it. I mean, this entire paragraph is just hogwash, to use an old term back in the day. Here is the last paragraph, and then I'm going to jump to the comments here. Oh my God. Promoting Bitcoin and saying, like, you better not promote Bitcoin. Like, we're keeping an eye on you. Like, you better not, crypto or Bitcoin, you better not have anything to do with it because we're keeping our eye on you. Since Bitcoin appears to be neither suitable as a payment system nor as a form of investment, is this the part? Yes, this is very good. I think this is the part. Oh, maybe I missed it. I might have missed over the part. Okay, never mind. It should be treated as neither in regulatory terms and thus should not be legitimized. Similarly, the financial industry should be wary of the long-term damage of promoting Bitcoin investments. Despite short-term profits, they could make. The negative impact on customer relations and the reputational damage to the entire industry could be enormous once Bitcoin investors will have made further losses. So the Bitcoin, so what he's stating here is that it's a sure thing that Bitcoin investors will sustain further losses. The end is near. It's a horrible investment. Any bank that gets into this space bears reputational risk. I just the fear induced mongering that is taking place in this statement and the timing of it. It is absolutely without question. I know there was a part or two I wanted to speak to in here that I missed, but for the most part, I hit everything I wanted to hit. The fear induced ridiculousness of this article, I view it as very much, okay? I'm not a conspiracy theorist here, okay? I very much see it as a coordinated attack. It's very much a coordinated attack. There's a lot going on right now with FTX. There's been a collapse of a token project, Luna. We know what's going on with Celsius. We know that at the same time, there are banks coming together to. It's sad to me to see that something like this gets any credence whatsoever and gets published. And again, these people, the people in charge of the ECB, okay, the European Central Bank, they have a megaphone, they have a microphone, okay, they can shout from the mountaintops and publish something like this, and people will listen, unfortunately, because they have power and money, and they can publish things like this. They have a lot to lose with the innovation that stands before us, and so what should make us feel proud and what should make us feel solidified in our view of the market is when an article, a bullshit article like this, is published. It further validates the validity. It's the only word I can come up with at the moment. It further validates the validity of the technology that Bitcoin helped to introduce. It's not just Bitcoin, it's many other technologies in the space. But this article should make us feel solidified that there's nothing in here that makes us feel like that it's Bitcoin's last stand. In fact, Bitcoin is at a moment. It is at a moment where it is set to explode massively in terms of adoption and value in the next decade ahead. Okay. So with that being said, let me get into the comments and questions, and then we will get into a few charts. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep the live stream a little shorter, and then I'll take a question or two on the charts here. What is up, HSB? I'm doing well. No complaints here. Definitely been enjoying my time up north. Oh man, Evan, you're going off, brother. I can't follow everything here. It's you're giving me a lot of information. Give me a lot. We need to chat offline on Twitter. Um, Send me a DM on Twitter, man. Cause you going. You got a lot of stuff here. Send me a DM on Twitter, Evan. Appreciate the comments. 6 more halvings. It's interesting. I don't know how many more halvings there are. I'll take your word for it. I don't know if there's 6 more halvings. How many there are? I know it goes out into the 2000. Doesn't it go out into like the 2040s? Okay. This is still going, and I apologize for the connection issues. The connection here is not the best. So that is definitely frustrating. But I think the part that you guys had missed, yeah, I see it catching up now. So I apologize. I think the part that you guys had missed here, in fact, some of these things I had commented on, but Lauren had commented that the ECB woke up this morning and wanted to start a fight. I want you guys to keep something in mind. Okay, it's a very good comment. The ECB is going to take jabs. Anybody that has something to lose from this industry in terms of the financial technology that this industry brings, okay, Anyone that has anything to lose, they're going to take jabs. They're going to take jabs at us while we're down, right? But you can't allow that to cloud your judgment in terms of the overall view of the market. The space is not going anywhere. It's not dying off. It's just that we've been undergoing a massive correction, right? There was a massive appreciation in price. There's nothing in the charts we've looked at that is devastating. Excuse me, saying Bitcoin is going to 3,000 or 5,000 or some crazy value. It's going to $100. There's nothing there that says that. There has been so much progress that has taken place over the past 10 plus years. Okay. This is why they print articles like this. This is why they look for a fight. Okay. They don't want to lose any control. This is not a conspiracy theory. Think about this for a moment just intuitively. I feel that I'm a very intuitive, intellectual individual, okay? If you have powers that are in control, they have power, right? You have entities that have control and power. Would they want to give that up? Would they want to give any of that up? Would they want to relinquish any of that? Of course not, right? So if they feel that the technology that we are talking about threatens their power and control, wouldn't they put out bullshit articles like this to instill fear? This article, again, okay, this article does nothing to me besides validate why I'm in the space. This article validates why I'm in the space. That's all it does. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. The Bitcoin halvings go into at least 2,140. I think you mean 2040. I'll have to look that up. I don't know if the halvings end in the 2030 decade or it's in the 2040s. Something tells me it's later than I had thought, which is the 2040s, but I have to look that up actually. But anyway, let me go over a few charts with you guys. I appreciate the interaction. Let me go over a few charts with you guys, and then I'm going to take some real quick TA Q&A. We're already running up against 39 minutes here, so I don't want to go too long. Couple charts I just wanted to hit on real quick, some of which I've spoken to, some of which I have not. Okay, this is some bullish divergence on the weekly that has been building on Bitcoin since June of 2022. Price going down, RSI going up. Again, if you don't follow me on Twitter at Crypto Bull God, I'm sharing. I mean, most of these charts, not all. Most of these charts I've shared on Twitter. So check me out at Twitter at Crypto Bull God. But price is going down, bullish divergence. Okay, RSI is going up. It's telling us that while it's not a certainty, seller exhaustion is coming in. Seller exhaustion. That's not a word. Seller exhaustion is not a word. Seller exhaustion is coming in, and we will likely, not certainly, but we will likely see a bounce here. All right, dominance, same sort of thing. I'm expecting this thing to break down. I've spoken to this forever. Just wanted to hit on the fact that, we're seeing exactly what I've spoken to for months. DXY, guys, if you haven't checked it out, I put out a video just yesterday that speaks to the correlation, the negative correlation that XY and Bitcoin in the broader cryptocurrency market, and I spoke to this chart. We're seeing a massive breakdown on the dollar, which is very, 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 very good for all of equities and the cryptocurrency market. Check out the video from yesterday. It's like 10 minutes of your time to check it out. I think it's very value added. Here's a chart I have not looked at with you guys. This is ticker symbol OXT Orchid. I think this is a really low cap market project. Again, common theme. Okay, I have a small play here on this one. Okay, just more of a trade setup, short-term swing trade play. We got bullish divergence that we see on a lot of charts, right? RSI is increasing, prices going down. We also have a falling wedge. I love setups that are like this, where you have bullish divergence and you have a falling wedge. Falling wedges are bullish in nature. You see typically a move to the upside. You also have momentum, you have seller momentum weakening, and you have bullish divergence in the RSI. I love this for a big move up in the short to midterm here. And speaking of falling wedges, and speaking of bullish divergence, if you follow me on Twitter, I spoke to band BTC relativities. You can see you had a falling wedge here. There was some bullish divergence. I'm not going to pull up. We had a fake out from the pattern, and then we had a breakout. And you can see in the price, what happened was once we ran from about $1 all the way up to almost $4. And we hit this 0.382 fib retracement level. If we go to UMA, does this not look like the same thing? Falling wedge? Okay, there is some bullish divergence in here. There's a fake out. Now, are we going to get another breakout on the relativity chart for UMA? Now, in this case, if we come up to the 0.382 fib retracement level, that brings us up to almost $6, okay? And from current levels, that's like a 3 to 4x, right? Just something to keep in mind. These prices, look how quickly band moved. This is in 1 week. In 1 week, band moved from $1.11 up to $3.67, okay? So keep an eye on UMA. It doesn't need to do what band protocol did, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm noting a similarity in market structure between UMA and band, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is because I definitely have a moderate swing trade in UMA like I did in band, okay, and it worked out well. Sushi, I wanted to bring this one up. I haven't spoken to this one in a while. This one looks like it has bottomed, okay? We have some bullish divergence. We have price consolidating in this area. Once we can get conviction to get above $1.70 to $2.20, once we get above that area, we're going to start pressing up into these resistances. Sushi, mark my words, come back to this video. We'll have a conversation. Sushi will be back up into that $10 to $20 area sooner than you think, okay? It's not a dead project. This thing underwent a massive correction and went lower than I thought, like many of the other projects, including Bitcoin, okay? But it's showing clear signs of consolidation and bottoming out here. These, in my opinions, never financial advice. These, in my opinions, would be sensical, logical, and smart areas to be dollar cost averaging into sushi. 1H bar, I've spoken to the relativity chart on 1H bar. This is on the weekly. This thing still looks very promising for a big breakout to the upside, meaning that one will appreciate more in USD value than H bar. I love both projects. I'm just speaking to this chart and saying I'm looking at this thing and I still see a huge breakout. You can see my targets up here anywhere between the 0.8 all the way up to 2. And that's the ratio of 1 to H bar. Keep an eye on this chart. I still feel like a big break to the upside is coming in the months to follow based on this chart. Mana, I want to speak to Mana really quick. Okay, Holy Crypto Trinity, all right, Mana. Guys, this is a great example of a project, of a token, of an investment that has gone lower than I thought it would. I thought that 68-70 cent area was I think 60 actually, 58 to 60 cent, 58 to 62 cents I think was the area I said, was a tremendous area to be buying in. Look at us at 40 cents. 40 cents. We are right in this green zone. We're right in this green zone. This is an area, okay, my belief and conviction based on this chart, this is beautiful market structure. Beautiful market structure. My belief and conviction is when you look back on this a year from now, you will have wished that you bought in at 40 cents. So just wanted to point out the fact we're consolidating in a massive green zone between 30 and 40 cents. This to me represents a massive buying opportunity. Never financial advice, but it's just my educated view based on the charts. Now, with that being said, let's see if I can answer a question or two on TA, and then we're going to wrap things up. Band going to $10. Oh, yeah, band, my friend. Band going to $10 is right up around here. We're going much higher than $10. But yeah, we're going to hit $10. Even if the 0.618 fib retracement to the 0.702, actually the 0.786, right in between the 0.618 and 0.786, which is where I would be looking, puts us between 7 to 12. So yeah, we're going to hit there initially, retrace, and then we're going to continue going up and creating new all-time highs. I really have no doubts about that one. It's decentralized exchanges are the future. That they have silly names. Yeah, the more that centralized exchanges fail, the more decentralized, something I've been thinking about, the more credence and value is given to decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, Cake, Sushi Swap, any decks that you can think of. Vet is nice. I haven't charted Vet in a while. Never really familiarized myself with the project too much, and it's not, when I say I haven't familiarized myself with the project, it's not that I don't find value in it. It's just you have so much time to. I only have so much time to invest in the space, right? So I can't evaluate every single project that everyone brings up to me. But I know a lot of people that like VeChain.